Hatred isn't always loud or obvious. Sometimes it hides behind a gentle smile, masking a clenched fist. It's the polite nod in public that whispers sabotage in private. True hatred is patient. It doesn't erupt immediately. It waits, watches, and plans. When it strikes, the damage is done. Relationships fracture, careers crumble, families break apart. The worst part, most people don't see it coming until it's too late. They question themselves instead of the person quietly poisoning their world. In this video, we'll uncover 5 unmistakable signs of deep-seated hatred, the kind that seeps into your life like a slow poison. These aren't fleeting grudges or passing moods. These are profound patterns that, once recognized, will transform how you safeguard your inner peace forever. If you value clarity, trust, and your future, you need to know these signs before it's too late. Stay with me until the end. If you're ready to see the world clearly, hit subscribe, like this video, share it with someone who needs it, and leave a comment below. I'm committed to protecting my inner peace. Let's dive in. The first sign: they actively work against your success. This one stings, and if you've lived long enough, you may have felt it. Some people don't just dislike you, they want to see you fail, not in a burst of anger, but with slow, deliberate intent. They don't shout or throw tantrums. Instead, they act like silent saboteurs, planting doubts in others' minds, pulling strings behind the scenes, and ensuring their fingerprints are nowhere near the chaos they create. On the surface, they may seem supportive, even friendly, but every smile hides a secret satisfaction at the thought of your stumble. And the hardest truth, most don't notice until the damage is done. A clear sign of true hatred is when someone quietly but persistently undermines your success. Not the person who openly opposes you, at least then you can defend yourself. No, this is the person who nods along to your ideas, cheers you on, then subtly shifts the environment so your plans never see the light of day. Picture a coworker who forgets to send you a critical email before a big meeting, while everyone else gets it without fail. Or a family member who, in casual chats, subtly chips away at your reputation, maybe saying, "You've been stressed lately," or "always a bit hot-headed." These small comments don't raise alarms right away, but over time, they build a narrative about you that you can't counter. This isn't carelessness or incompetence. It's intentional sabotage. In your career, these people might help with a project, but miss deadlines or lose key information. Knowing you'll take the fall, they might pitch your idea to the boss as their own, or they'll highlight a minor mistake to overshadow your strengths. In personal life, they play the same game. They might stir conflict between you and loved ones, not with direct accusations, but through sly hints and half-truths that erode trust. Over time, you notice patterns, invitations you never receive, opportunities that vanish without explanation, friends who suddenly treat you differently without saying why. From a Stoic perspective, the challenge isn't just spotting these patterns, it's responding without letting anger take over. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the harm others cause is only as great as the power we give it in our minds. That doesn't mean ignoring sabotage. It means refusing to let it control your inner calm. Stoics don't deny that people can be cruel. They choose not to let that cruelty steal their peace. The practical approach has 2 parts: stay observant and keep control. Instead of reacting emotionally to every slight, look for consistency. Is that forgotten message a one-time slip or part of a repeating pattern? Does that offhand comment about you stand alone? Or is it echoed in places you're not present? When you realize someone's quietly working against you, the worst move is to confront them in a burst of emotion. That's what they want. It makes you look unhinged while they play the victim. Instead, the Stoic approach is to quietly limit their influence. Share less with them. Document importante interaction. Build alliances with those who know your true character. If possible, produce undeniable results, so their whispers can't compete with proof of your success. The truth is, subtle sabotage thrives in the shadows. It works best when you're distracted, doubting yourself, or too trusting to see what's really happening. By bringing it into the light, not through public accusations but private awareness, you strip away its greatest weapon, secrecy. Here's the tough reality you must face to protect yourself. Some people find their greatest joy when you're at your lowest. Your failure becomes their quiet triumph. Proof their long-held resentment was justified. It's tempting to try to win them over, to prove you deserve their respect or kindness. But that's not the Stoic way. You're not here to change their view of you. You're here to preserve your integrity, focus, and inner peace. Epictetus taught us to care only about what we can control: our thoughts, actions, choices, and let go of the rest. Trying to change a hater's heart is like stopping the wind with your hands. It only exhausts you without results. When you grasp this, you shift your energy from defending yourself against them to living so well that their hatred becomes irrelevant. This doesn't mean ignoring sabotage. It means managing it strategically without letting it throw you off balance. Stay calm. Refuse to play their game. And you take away what they crave most: your emotional reaction. Hatred feeds on the chaos it creates. A Stoic starves it by standing firm in stillness. Spotting this first sign is crucial, but it's only the beginning. Another sign, just as dangerous and harder to detect, shows hatred in a more subtle way. It's the moment someone's eyes light up, not for your success, but for your pain. The second sign, they take quiet pleasure in your struggles. This isn't just mild envy or someone grumpy when you share good news. It's darker. These are people who feel a thrill when life knocks you down, barely hiding their delight in your hardship. They may cloak their feelings in polite words, but the mask is never perfect. A true friend listens without judgment, asks how they can help, and offers genuine support. Their voice, posture, and eyes radiate empathy. But someone who harbors hatred, their words may sound right, but their energy feels off. Their eyes might gleam a bit too brightly. Their questions probe your troubles in a way that feels invasive. Instead of easing your burden, their words make it heavier. You catch it in the smallest cracks of their performance: a slight smirk after a concerned comment, a fleeting look of satisfaction. They ask about your struggles not to help, but because your misfortune entertains them. Imagine a friend who hears about your legal trouble and suddenly wants every detail, not to offer advice, but to savor the story like it's a gripping drama. Or when you mention financial stress, they nod sympathetically, but steer the talk to your past mistakes, implying you brought it on yourself. The clearest sign isn't how they react to your failures, but how they brush off your successes, share good news, and they respond with indifference, quickly changing the topic. But when trouble hits, they've got all the time in the world to linger. They lean in, their voice livens up, and they seem almost relieved to dwell on your pain. On social media, it's even clearer. They ignore your achievements, but rush to comment on your struggles, with words that seem supportive, but amplify your distress for others to see. This isn't random. It's a pattern of feeding on negativity, using your hardships as a twisted form of social currency. The danger isn't just the emotional sting, it's the slow psychological toll. You might start doubting who you can trust with your vulnerabilities. You might stop sharing good news altogether, sensing it's met with apathy. That's exactly what they want, to shrink your emotional openness until the only version of you they see is one struggling. That version feeds their ego, reinforcing their sense of superiority. From a Stoic view, this is where mental discipline becomes your shield. Marcus Aurelius said we're disturbed, not by events, but by how we judge them. When someone revels in your struggles, the human impulse is to feel hurt or angry. The Stoic response is to see their reaction for what it is, proof of their character, not yours. As Epictetus taught, true freedom lies in knowing the limits of your control. You can't force someone to celebrate your success if they choose resentment instead, but you can refuse to let their joy in your pain weaken you. Recognizing this sign prepares you for something even darker. They don't just revel in your struggles, they actively create them. They move beyond personal satisfaction to calculated sabotage of the most vital parts of your life. Their goal isn't just to see you stumble, but to sever the connections that help you rise again. This subtle tactic is their most dangerous weapon. If you cherish your closest bonds, you must spot it before it's too late. The third sign they sow: doubt about you in others' minds. What makes this hatred so insidious is its invisibility until the damage is done. They don't attack openly, that would expose them. Instead, they pose as the caring friend, trustworthy colleague, or thoughtful family member. They make themselves seem safe, someone others can confide in, and they're so skilled that people start seeing them as a reliable, neutral voice. That's when their real work begins, not supporting you, but quietly undermining your reputation and credibility. It starts small. They mention your name in conversations, not with outright accusations, but with gentle hints of doubt. They might say to someone, "I just hope Sarah's holding up okay. She's been under so much pressure lately." It sounds caring on the surface, but it plants a seed that you're unstable or overwhelmed, subtly eroding trust in you without you knowing. They don't tell bold lies. They mix partial truths with omitted context to make their words sound plausible. If you're stressed at work, they'll mention it, but leave out that you're managing well. If you made a mistake, they'll bring it up, but skip how you took responsibility and fixed it. By framing their concern as private and reluctant, they build trust in themselves while making you seem questionable. I saw this with David, a senior manager at a large company. He'd built strong team relationships over years, but a colleague, Mark, slowly became the group's emotional anchor. In private talks, Mark expressed worry for David, saying the pressure might be clouding his judgment. Spoken with sympathy, these words carried a hidden message that David was no longer sharp in his decisions. Over time, David noticed meetings happening without him, projects reassigned, and colleagues giving him wary looks. Mark never criticized him openly. He didn't need to. The seeds of doubt were already planted. This tactic, called triangulation, controls information flow through a single intermediary who shapes it to suit their agenda. It's an ancient political trick. Effective, because most people don't verify what they hear. If you don't talk directly to those involved, you're at the mercy of a poisoned filter. Seneca said, "The harm others do is nothing compared to the harm you do yourself by believing them." This is why the Stoic approach is so powerful. You can't stop their whispers, but you can keep them from taking root in your mind. Stay grounded in what you know is true and keep direct, honest communication with those who matter. If a friend grows distant, reach out to them yourself. If a colleague starts avoiding you, have a candid conversation instead of trusting second-hand information. Don't let manipulators become the middleman they want to be. They target your closest relationships because they know those bonds are your strength. If they make you doubt your allies, or make them doubt you, they've weakened you without a direct fight. That's why a sudden change in how people treat you deserves scrutiny. If someone who once trusted you grows cold for no clear reason, consider who they've been spending time with and what seeds might have been planted in their mind. The Stoics' greatest weapon isn't paranoia, it's clarity. Recognize that some use kindness as a mask for sabotage. Your job isn't to chase every rumor or justify yourself to everyone, but to stand firm, speak plainly, and not let anyone rewrite your story, because once you give up that power, you've handed them the tools to fulfill their purpose. Understanding this third sign prepares you for something even darker, a tactic that exposes a deep human flaw. It will make you rethink every small gesture and word from others. And that's when true hatred reveals its most chilling form. The fourth sign: they mimic you while trying to outshine you. This isn't just wanting your misfortune, it's an obsession to overtake you, to live a shadowed version of your life and make it seem better. This isn't healthy competition or admiration that inspires growth. It's a mix of obsession and resentment. One of the most unsettling behaviors you'll encounter when someone truly hates you. They watch you with an intensity that feels more like surveillance than curiosity. They notice your clothes, your routines, your friends, how you speak, and how you present yourself. But their goal isn't to learn from you, it's to copy you, strip away your uniqueness, and claim they do it better. This stems from a deep insecurity within them. You represent something they feel entitled to but can't achieve naturally, maybe your ease with people, the respect you've earned in your career, or the stability in your personal life. Instead of forging their own path, they make you their benchmark. They believe that by beating you at your own game, they prove their worth to the world and themselves. Since their self-worth is tied to outdoing you, their mimicry never stops. It escalates. Take the example of Pablo Picasso and his rival, Georges Braque. Their early creative partnership pushed them both forward. But over time, Braque's competition turned personal. He began copying Picasso's work so closely, it was hard to tell whose was whose. To outsiders, it might have looked like mutual inspiration, but Picasso saw the truth. This wasn't about shared talent. It was an attempt to steal his place, blur his identity, and prove superiority through imitation. That's how malicious mimicry works. It doesn't create value, it erases origins. Healthy inspiration transforms your ideas into something new with open acknowledgement. But when someone hates you, their approach is parasitic. They copy your ideas wholesale, tweak them slightly for appearances, and present them as their own. At work, they might mimic your proposal, adjust a few details, and pitch it as theirs. In personal life, they adopt your interests, but try to seem more skilled or passionate than you. This isn't about shared enjoyment, it's about erasing your ownership. The most dangerous part is the psychological trickery. They might accuse you of copying them, flipping the narrative to paint you as the imitator and them as the original. This reversal doesn't just undermine your credibility, it bolsters their story of being superior. Over time, you feel like you're living in a distorted mirror, where every choice is overshadowed by someone trying to outdo you. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." This is the antidote to their game. When you stop needing to beat them, you take away their fuel. The Stoic response isn't to compete harder in their world, but to step out of the comparison entirely. No matter how much they mimic you, they can't replicate the inner foundation of your character if you don't let their actions control you. You'll notice this sign in how you feel around them, or even just thinking about them. True inspiration energizes you with pride. Malicious competition drains you, leaving you insecure and on edge. If you sense someone always hovering in your circle, mirroring you just to outshine you, that unease is a warning worth heeding. They're not here to share your journey. They want to rewrite it with themselves as the star. The longer you let this dynamic persist, the more it saps your emotional energy. You find yourself watching their every move, anticipating their next step, and soon you're trapped in their cycle of rivalry. The Stoic path demands you let go of that pull. You step back, protect your boundaries, and remember, your worth isn't measured by their yardstick. By refusing to play their petty game, you win in the only way that matters, preserving your peace, identity, and focus. And with that, we reach the fifth and final sign, the one that ties everything together. This sign is the most revealing and dangerous, as it strikes at how you experience those around you daily. Once you see it, it's impossible to ignore. The fifth sign, every interaction with them, leaves you drained. This isn't just a tense conversation or catching someone on a bad day. It's a consistent pattern, a slow erosion of your confidence, energy, and inner peace. Every time you engage with them, at first, you might not notice because nothing overtly harsh happens in these exchanges. But you walk away feeling uneasy, slightly anxious, or even angry without a clear reason. You replay the conversation in your mind, searching for the moment it went wrong. That's the trap. There's often no single obvious moment because the harm is delivered in tiny, deliberate doses, slipping past your conscious defense. When someone harbors true hatred, they can radiate toxic energy even in the most ordinary conversations. Their tone may be calm, their words polite, but something in their presence feels corrosive. Your intuition senses it before your mind can explain it. Without realizing it, you're expending mental energy just to stay alert, guarding against subtle attacks, too quiet to name, but too sharp to ignore. This shows up in the smallest details: a backhanded compliment that stings just a little, a faint smirk after a remark that hits your insecurities, or casual mentions of your past mistakes, framed as harmless anecdotes. Picture someone saying, "Your work's better than I expected," or glancing at your home and noting, "It's decent for this neighborhood." Each comment is cloaked in a thin layer of civility, but carries a barb meant to keep you slightly off balance. Over time, you start to change without noticing. You avoid certain topics, speak more cautiously, or doubt your own thoughts before sharing them. This walking on eggshells feeling isn't because you're oversensitive, it's self-preservation. You've learned through repeated encounters that anything you say can be subtly twisted against you. They might even deny what they clearly said or distort your words to make you seem irrational. This constant distortion makes you question not just the relationship, but your own memory, judgment, and stability. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." The danger here is that prolonged exposure to their corrosive influence tints your thoughts with their colors. You start wondering if you're overreacting, too sensitive, or if they're right about you. That's how this quiet psychological warfare works, not with a single blow, but by wearing you down drop by drop until you doubt yourself. Once self-doubt takes hold, you're more vulnerable to manipulation. The Stoic response isn't to argue over every slight or demand apologies for every hidden insult. That plays into their hands. Instead, you step back and see the pattern for what it is. You understand your peace is yours to protect, and you guard it by limiting their influence. You don't debate their intentions that traps you in their framework. You calmly decide your mind won't be their playground. To do this, trust your instincts. If you consistently feel drained, diminished, or insecure after interacting with someone, that's not random. Your subconscious is signaling what your conscious mind may not yet grasp. You don't need undeniable proof of their ill intent. Just the impact they have on you is enough to set boundaries. This subtle psychological erosion is the final and perhaps most dangerous sign of true hatred, because it doesn't just harm your reputation or steal your ideas, it aims to rewrite how you see yourself from within. If you don't catch it, you risk living with an identity quietly reshaped by someone else's malice. Recognizing this pattern wraps up the 5 signs we've explored. It reveals that true hatred is rarely loud or chaotic. It's silent, calculated, and patient. Once you see it, you can't pretend it's not there. How you handle this awareness determines whether you're pulled into their spiral or step into the clarity and strength Stoics see as the foundation of freedom. If you've stayed with me this far, you know these 5 signs aren't just insights about human behavior. They're tools for survival. They draw the line between preserving your inner peace and being slowly dismantled by those who smile to your face while undermining you behind your back. Stay vigilant. Trust your instincts and protect your peace.